Economic Forum on the Middle East and North Africa holding at the Dead Sea, President Muhammadu Buhari is in Amman, the Jordanian capital. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the president, who is a special invitee of the Jordanian king, Abdullah bin al-Hussein, was accorded a befitting reception on arrival.
President Muhammadu Buhari arrived Queen Alia International Airport, Amman, at 11:45 Thursday evening local time. On hand to receive him was a high-powered Jordanian government delegation, as well as the Nigerian ambassador to Jordan. There were also ministers of foreign affairs and interior, the national security advisor, and other senior government officials. While in Jordan, President Buhari is expected to deliver an address at the opening of the World Economic Forum on the Middle East and North Africa on Saturday at the Dead Sea, alongside the United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres. The president, accompanied by Governor Badaru Abubakar of Jigawa State, will thereafter join other world economic leaders at the plenary session of the event.
I think it's highly significant for our country, the fact that our president has been invited to present a keynote address shows that he's doing something that the world has noticed. The world knows where he met the Nigerian economy and where the economy is now and where he is taking it to. So if he didn't have something to say, something to contribute, they wouldn't have invited him. So the fact that they invited him to present a keynote address at a forum like this is very significant for Nigeria, significant for our president as a person, and then significant for all Nigerians in that we can be very proud of our president.
During the 4-day visit, the Nigerian leader is scheduled to hold bilateral meetings with some world leaders on the sidelines of the Economic Forum.
You know, the president has 3 messages he tells the world. One is, join us to secure Nigeria. 2, help us to work on our economy, to revive it, come and invest in Nigeria. You will get a good return on your investment. And then 3, he will tell them, join us to fight corruption. Let's team up and make corruption anathema, not just in our country, but in all countries of the world.
President Buhari will depart Amman on Sunday for Dubai, United Arab Emirates, to participate in the 9th edition of the annual investment meeting beginning on the 8th of this month. From Amman, Jordan, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And bringing our focus back home, President Muhammadu Buhari has kept his promise that governance will not take the back seat in spite of his busy campaigns leading to the 2019 presidential elections. With major activities and achievements recorded during the campaign period, the presidency notes with delight the non-disruption of projects.
In keeping with the promise by President Muhammadu Buhari that governors would not take the back seat in spite of his busy campaign schedules to all the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory leading to the presidential election on February 23, 2019, below are artifacts of promise kept. On January 9, 2019, President Buhari inaugurated the Presidential Technical Advisory Committee on the implementation of the national minimum wage to advise the federal government on how best to fund in a sustained manner the additional cost of implementing the imminent increase in the national minimum wage. The committee, chaired by Mr. Bismarck Rewani, submitted its report on Monday, the 25th of March 2019. Also in January 2019, President Buhari submitted a national minimum wage amendment bill to the National Assembly for passage, following the approval of the National Council of State. The bill is now awaiting presidential assent. January 23, 2019, the Strategic Revenue Growth Initiatives of the federal government was launched by the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, in Abuja on 3 main planks, namely achieving sustainability in revenue generation, identifying new and enhancing the enforcement of existing revenue streams, achieving cohesion in the revenue ecosystem. The President signed Executive Order 007 of 2019 on the Road Infrastructure Development and Refurbishment Investment Tax Credit Scheme. Election season did not halt or negatively affect ongoing federal government construction projects across the country. Various projects are currently proceeding. We simply prioritized the completion of critical ongoing projects over the introduction of new ones. The National Bureau of Statistics released figures for the fourth quarter of 2018 economic growth, which is 2.3%, and for the full year of 2018, which is 1.93%, more than double the full year 2017 growth rate of 0.82%. This growth in the fourth quarter of 2018, as well as for the full year, owed a great deal to the performance of the non-oil sector.
The Committee of Youth on Mobilization and Sensitization has commended the Nigerian youths for their active participation in the just concluded 2019 general elections. Doe India reports that the group, during a 2019 post-election media briefing, commended President Muhammadu Buhari for signing the Not Too Young to Run bill and pleaded for more involvement of the youth in governance.
The 2019 general elections may have come and gone, but the outcome of the poll, which is adjudged free, fair and credible, has continued to receive commendation from different quarters. For this committee, the massive turnout of voters, majority of who are the youth, was a positive development for the country. For them, the interest to contest into various elective offices demonstrates their zeal to take up leadership responsibilities.
The outcome of the presidential election, which revealed the victory of President Muhammadu Buhari, was credible and freest.
On the pockets of violence recorded in some parts of the country, the group appealed to the government to compensate those who sustained injuries and immortalize those who lost their lives, as they were the true heroes of democracy.
I believe that the government have regards for them.
While commending the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration for its youth empowerment initiative, such as the Empire, Anchor Borrower and the school feeding program, amongst others, the group requests for more employment opportunities and a 60% appointments for women and youths.
They have that knowledge in them, that leadership to lead.
They believe that when the youth are given more opportunity to participate in leadership, Nigeria can achieve the desired growth in terms of economy and social development.
In Abuja, Doe India, NT News.
And moving on, development of the culture industry is imperative in view of numerous social and economic benefits therein. The House of Representatives Committee on Culture came to this agreement with the National Council for Arts and Culture when the Director General, Otumba Olusegun Runshewe, appeared for budget defense. National Assembly correspondent Lami Amli tells us more.
Appreciating the support of the House of Representatives Committee on Culture in ensuring that the National Council for Arts and Culture is adequately funded, the Director General, Otumba Olusegun Runshewe, said Nigeria's rich and diverse culture could be used to generate revenue as culture and tourism are interwoven.
The reason why so many countries are having good IGR, because they remit money back to government for tax, etc. So whatever we remit there is to build a better Nigeria.
He believes that cultural activities should be encouraged to foster unity and development. The committee commended the Council for judicious use of resources as seen from its budget performance in preceding years.
I remember, if you go back to First Tax 77, you will see, you will remember what National Theatre, that edifice, the role it played for us as a people.
Other agencies that appeared before the Culture Committee include Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization and the National Theatre. In another development, the Senate and House of Representatives Committee on Women Affairs, during an interface with the Minister of Women Affairs, urged the ministry to have its impact felt, especially among women.
Without a zonal intervention to your center or your agency, I think you almost have a zero budget.
If we can't defend the budget, the appropriation committee can say, okay, let us take the decision ourselves. And that decision, you never know what they will do.
The committee also directed the National Center for Women Development to adopt and put into use the correct template for presentation of budget performance and proposals. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And back to election matters now. The coalition of APC support groups says the party remains supreme in taking decisions as it affects members, particularly those elected on the party platform. Leaders of the group at a press conference in Abuja commended party faithful across the country for renewing the mandate of APC as a governing party with overwhelming support. They, however, urged them to remain committed and focused in line with the party's progressive ideology of encouraging its elected leaders that will add value to the next level agenda of the Buhari administration.
But because the stability and coherence of the both chambers, the red and green chambers, is a necessary factor for smooth operation and running of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari.
There are positions that have already been zoned. We have the president coming from the northwest. We have the vice president coming from the southwest. We have already, which is known to, is public knowledge now, that the Senate president is going to northeast.
We have been able to sustain the change mantra. We have moved to the next level. So we will do things the right way this time.
The group says, unlike in the past, this time around, the governing APC has the required number of lawmakers at the National Assembly to fast-track development and provide the other tiers of government necessary legislative backing for all-round development. It's time now for a break. Nationwide continues shortly. Stay with us.
A new edition of TV Guide is out with special focus on the role of the media in election coverage. Exclusive on the National Broadcasting Commission, its mandate as the sole regulator of Nigerian media. Dr. Toba Daba then and Ishak Modibo Kawu now. This edition also features the king of stand-up comedy in Nigeria, Ali Baba. NTA Standard Studio ready for election transmission after decades of abandonment. Find out from the DG transactional elections in our political space. An evil wind that blows no good. DG, National Orientation Agency, calls on TV Guide, your indispensable companion, x-rays the impact of social media on electioneering process as electorates present their expectations from incoming government. Meet some TV professionals behind the screen and other inspiring stories in sports, entertainment, and lots more. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or NTA stations nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
When you hear that sound, you know that Nigeria's most authentic newscast is about to begin. NTA Network News, breaking the news for over 40 years.
Thank you for staying tuned. Well, at this point, we join Jennifer in Lagos for more stories on Nationwide. It's over to you, Jennifer.
Ogwa, welcome to Lagos. The Lagos State Independent National Electoral Commissioner Sam Ohigmekong, has charged the newly elected House of Assembly members to enact laws that would impact positively on the lives of Lagosians. He stated this during the presentation of certificates of return to the lawmakers in Lagos. Rotimi Oluwagbemi reports.
The newly elected lawmakers were excited to receive their certificate of returns, which validates their electoral victory. The State INEC Commissioner Sam Ohigmekong congratulated them for their triumph at the polls, urging them to fulfill the promises they made to the electorate. Reacting to petitions against the commission, Mr. Ohigmekong said,
"As I speak with you today, about 16 petitions that have been filed with the tribunal. Well, as far as we are concerned, this is part of the democratic process, and we on our part are ready to defend all our actions and to be accountable for all our actions during the course of the elections."
The presentation of the certificate of return was the high point of the event.
We are assuring Lagosians that this night assembly will be all about the people. The interests of the people will come first.
We must, as a legislator, start activity right away. We must hit the ground running.
Effective oversight functions to ensure that money allocated for projects were judicially utilized for the purpose it was meant for.
Education, education, education. Because that's the only instrument to bring people from poverty into wealth. And we've been doing it and will continue to do it.
In fact, I'm elated seeing people around me. You know, if it is joy, it's for everybody. So a day like this will not cease in any of our homes.
This event is particularly historic as all the 40 lawmakers belong to the All Progressive Congress. In Lagos, Rotimi Oluwagbemi, NTA News.
Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has charged Nigerian youths to join hands with his administration to take the country to the next level, as his administration is committed to ensuring that skilled youths are productively engaged and supported for national development. The president was speaking at the 50th convocation ceremony of the University of Lagos. Jane Ojukwu has the report.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who was represented by the Executive Secretary, National Universities Commission, Professor Abubakar Rashid, commended the graduating students, noting that a huge task of nation building awaits them.
We acknowledge that our advancement as a nation will be driven by a robust human resource base. Education is our primary hope for developing and unlocking the innate treasures of Nigeria's large human population.
It is my prayer that as we have ushered the entire nation into the next level, the tertiary institution sector in general and the university system in particular will enjoy renewed attention and support from your administration.
150 students were conferred with Doctorate of Philosophy degree, while 3 distinguished Nigerians, Dr. Daniel Olukoya, Alhaji Latif Okuno, and Mr. Jim Ovia, were presented with honorary doctorate degree of the university. 2 eminent scholars were also honored with Professor Emeritus titles.
The students of the University of Lagos have been excelling in different ways in terms of innovation. In the next 1 month, the university is going to register 15 companies for our students.
All the honorees were urged to see their awards as a driving force to do more towards advancing the socio-economic development of the nation. In Lagos, Jane Ojukwu, NTA News.
Nigeria accounts for 10% of illegal I'll take that again. Nigeria accounts for 10% of illegal migrants presently stranded in Tripoli, Libya. The EU ambassador to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Katil Kassem, disclosed this at a press briefing for review of the EU and IOM humanitarian airlifting of stranded Nigerian migrants in Libya back to the country. Mohammed Abdulkadri completes the story.
About 3 years down the line, 12,974 Nigerians stranded in Libya have been airlifted back to the country from 65 flights operations. Thanks to the International Organization for Migration Initiative, and the special funding from the EU for the reintegration of the voluntary returnees.
To a certain extent, reflect that comprehensive approach, also the need to combine addressing root causes.
Of migrants that are there, 10% of them are Nigerians, which would give us an estimate figure of around 63,000.
The local key players in the tripartite arrangement and partnership with the international players in their separate narrative described the operation of reintegrating the returnees as a total package put together by the federal government.
We are very proud to stand with our partners, the EU and the IOM.
The Lagos Territorial Office of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has consistently deployed its human and material asset to work with the IOM and other stakeholders for the success of this voluntary return initiative.
The EU-IOM initiative for the Nigerian returnees continues for the next 1 year. In Lagos, Muhammad Abdelkader, NTA News.
Now, those are the stories from Lagos at this hour. Back to Ogwa in Abuja for continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Jennifer. The Presidential Election Petition Tribunal in Abuja has granted the prayers of the People's Democratic Movement's presidential candidate, Aminci Habu, that it should serve the court processes on President Muhammadu Buhari through substituted means. This follows complaints by the PDM that its inability to give the documents to President Buhari is hindering the case. Olabode Arewa tells us more.
Presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Movement, PDM, Aminci Habu, told the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, unlawfully excluded his name and party logo from the ballot sheet during the presidential election held on the 23rd of February 2019. This, is said, denied his supporters the opportunity to vote for him. Counsel to the PDM, Aliu Lemu, told the tribunal that he had not been able to effect service on the third respondent, who is President Muhammadu Buhari. After considering the grounds of the ex parte motion, the tribunal, headed by Justice Abdul Abuki, directed that the court processes be served on President Buhari through the Abuja office of the All Progressives Congress National Legal Advisor.
As soon as they accept service, the court will assume jurisdiction to hear our petition and deliver judgment.
Meanwhile, the Zamfara State Election Petition Tribunal has commenced sitting in Abuja, where it granted the prayer of the All Progressives Grand Alliance governorship candidate, Abdullahi Shinkafi, to serve the court processes on the APC governorship candidate, Mukhtar Idris, through substituted means. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
And talking education, the Colleges of Education Academic Staff Union, KUASU, has appealed to the Minister of Education, Adamu Adamu, to wade into its issue concerning some agreement it entered into with government that necessitated it to suspend its strike 4 months ago. KUASU suspended her industrial action on December 5, 2018, having accepted government's offer to release the sum of 15 billion naira as palliative intervention to cushion the effects of the decay in the infrastructure in public colleges of education, among others. KUASU President Nuhu Ogirima, in a letter written to the minister, said parts of the union's concerns are the non-payment of peculiar academic allowance, implementation of tertiary salary scale, Contest 15 on lower cadre staff, and non-continuation of stalled renegotiation of 2010 KUASU FG agreement. Ogirima stressed that its concern is further heightened by the refusal of other departments of government in fulfilling the much-awaited obligation on their parts, noting the office of the head of civil service of the Federation for the non-issuance of an awaited circular on a new cadre purportedly created to cater for HND relating to migration, the office of the Accountant General of the Federation for refusing to remit to the union check-off dues, and the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TET Fund, for sustained bias against the colleges of education. And the Niger-Kwara Kogi Command of the Nigeria Customs Service has intercepted 732 bags of foreign rice involving a truck being smuggled into the country through the borders. Fatima Usman reports that this form part of the items seized in the command's 16 operations in the first quarter of the year 2019.
732 bags of rice, 11 assorted vehicles, 175 liters of vegetable oil, and bales of fairly used clothes, among others, joined loads of previously seized items and cars in previous years to fill the warehouse beyond its capacity.
This is not the only Angoche vehicle arrested, especially in the northern part of the country. His drivers, after delivering their consignments of cement to various destinations, they used to go and get involved in conveying of smuggled items.
The controller, Niger Kogi Kwara Command, Yusuf Abba Kasim, further declared 814,755,000 naira as the revenue generated by the command in the first quarter, highest in the last 3 years, notwithstanding the electioneering activities that slowed down business activities.
I would like to send a note of warning to economic saboteurs to steer clear of Niger Kwara Kogi area command and engage in meaningful venture, or else they will meet their Waterloo.
The command reaffirmed its commitment to partnering the media for continued enlightenment and sensitization on its activities towards ridding the country of contrabands. In Mina, Fatima Usman, NTA News.
And the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, says the Nigerian Army will support the Federal Road Safety Corps in the area of training to enhance the Corps' operation. The Army Chief affirmed this at an audience with the Corps Marshal of FRSC in Abuja. Oyeyemi Ajayi has details.
Though their uniforms may be different, so also their responsibilities. But there is still a point of collaboration, though the Corps Marshal acknowledged reduction in road crashes on the highways. He, however, calls for an integrated transporting system to further reduce accidents on Nigerian roads, all for the interest of the country.
We operate penalty point system. When you accumulate up to between 10 to 14 points, you go for 5 hours retraining. When your license is suspended for 3 months, when you accumulate 15 points to 20, you go back to driving school for 1 month. Then when your license, when you accumulate 21 points, it's suspended for 1 year, then you go back to driving school again.
The meeting provides both organizations avenues to discuss possible areas of synergy, especially regarding saving lives on the highways.
We will key into this area, having efficient drivers across the country so that we reduce the rate of accidents on our highways. And I believe we will do a good job in that regard.
In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Benin is our next port of call, and Obeyi will update us with latest developments from that zone. It's over to you.
Ogwa, welcome to Benin. As rainfall increases in different parts of the country, the Edo State government is appealing to the federal government to construct a shoreline around the bank of the River Niger to avoid the possibility of communities being submerged. The Edo State Acting Governor, Philip Shaibu, made the appeal during a visit to flood-prone areas in Ilushi and the IDP camp in Isako Central Local Government Area. Urakomong Achibong reports.
Every year, indigenes of Esang Southeast, Esako Central, and Esako East communities close to the banks of the River Niger approach the rainy season with fear, unsure of what the season holds for them, following the devastating effect of flood that has continually sacked inhabitants from their homes, with farmlands destroyed.
Our fear now be say erosion won't finish this time for us. They don't do it before no level. So when I help us, we need the assistance to government.
It is to reduce the effects of the flood this year that the acting governor visited the areas to take tour of the facilities at the internally displaced persons camp.
As a proactive measure, we want to check so that we don't lose any life in Edo State this rainy season, especially in this area. You know what happened last year, the flooding that took place. So we are already looking at the indices and the amount of rains that will fall this year.
He advised people living around the flood-prone areas to be vigilant, report further complaints to government, and quickly relocate to higher grounds.
What we are clear about is that we want to prepare ahead.
He promised to add 3 or more IDP camps and improve the standard of the already existed camps to accommodate more persons. In Benin, Udakobong Achibong, NTA News.
The Federal High Court sitting in Warri, Delta State, has upheld the candidacy of Senator Ovie Omoagege and other candidates of the All Progressives Congress in Delta State. Tessie Coker reports.
The presiding judge, Justice Emeka Ewete, in his judgment delivered Tuesday, struck out the suit filed by the plaintiff Olorogo Otega-Emero, challenging the validity of the primary election that produced Senator Ovie Omoagege.
The court has again affirmed the position of the Supreme Court to say that persons who are not joined as parties to a suit are not bound by any judgment given by that court. And the court also said that the suit filed by Otega-Emero is incompetent, as such it was struck out.
The report of INEC shows that it was Senator Ovie Omoagege that won the primaries conducted by the National Working Committee of the APC.
The counsel to the APC, Lucky Akpoweri, described the court verdict as a landmark for the party and all the candidates that emerged legitimately through the primaries conducted by the APC. Meanwhile, counsel to Olorogo Otega-Emero, Mr. Igbokwe, reacted to the judgment.
He does not want to counter or contradict the judgment of his learned brother in Asaba. And I believe that you must have had the judgment in Asaba. Yes. And that supersedes this one.
By this verdict, Senator Ovie Omoagege stands elected senator representing the Delta Central at the upper chamber until an appeal is filed by the plaintiff. Tessie Coker, NTA News.
Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Major General Zachary Kazauri, has urged the 2019 batch A Corps members in Edo State to be good ambassadors of the Corps and Nigeria as they embark on their primary assignments. He gave the advice during a working visit to the camp at Okada. Steve Lunai Wonkolo completes the report.
The Director General, on arrival at the camp, inspected a guard of honor mounted by the quarter guards and a tour around the facilities in the camp. Major General Kazare, who noted the 4 cardinal objectives of the National Youth Service Corps scheme to include community development and orientation programs, urged the Corps members to respect the culture and the traditions of their host communities, even as they add value to the lives of the people.
Be good ambassadors of their honorary gentlemen, be good ambassadors of Guinea, and be good ambassadors of Nigeria. If not, I wish you peaceful organization and a successful service here.
State coordinator of the camp informed the DG that the 1,999 Corps members deployed to the state have exhibited an equal level of cooperation and discipline.
The camp has been very peaceful through the hard work, commitment, and resilience demonstrated by all Corps officials.
The visit of the Director General of the NYC to Edo State Camp will no doubt boost the morale of the Corps members and to rededicate them to the ideals of the scheme, which was founded in 1973. From the Edo State NYC Camp, Okada, Steve Lona Nwaokolo, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. It's back to Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Many thanks, Obey. Now let's talk agriculture, as the federal government plans to open up 500,000 hectares of unused arable land under its new program that would allow private sector participation in land clearing for agricultural purposes. Let's hear from Musa Baba Aliu.
Nigeria is said to have 82 million hectares of arable land, in which only 41% is under cultivation. Research carried out by agriculturists indicates that more investment is needed to open up most of the abandoned land for more agricultural activities.
If you just compare 34 million hectares even under cultivation for tractor
under maximum utilization of 300 to 400 hectares, you can see we need about over 70 to 100,000 tractors in the country.
And the signing of this agreement is expected to address the financial constraints in land clearing.
We are working with Mantrack to open up about 500,000 hectares of farmland nationwide in order to provide, market for our mechanization program.
When you say more jobs, more empowerment, more crops, more food, more industrial activities.
Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Audu Ogbe, appealed to farmers to expand the area under cultivation for more food production and income generation. The initiative is also expected to open up more rural roads in the country. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And in the meantime, an 8-man delegation of Korean rice investors have arrived Jigawa State to understudy Nigeria's rice production and invest in rice farming as revolutionized by the present administration. Awal Muhammad Kazauri reports from Duse.
Jigawa State is one of the states blessed with abundant farmland conducive for rice farming. With the support of the Buhari administration Rice Revolution Project, farmers now produce 8 tons of rice per hectare, with many rice mills established across the state. This development attracted a team of rice investors from South Korea, whose first port of call is Jigawa State. They commended Nigeria for its commitment to food security through agricultural development.
The reason why we have paid a visit to this site for today is to take a field trip to one of your farms to discuss the possible cooperation options to improve rice production, such as better techniques for rice cultivations, because our facilitator, Mr. Hong Young, and the Dangote Group has chosen the farms here in Jigawa State.
Governor Muhammad Badaru Abubakar briefed the team on the success story of rice production.
We need to have good agricultural practices to produce paddy at the right price and at the right quantity. So that is why this partnership will help greatly, not only in producing enough paddy, but in producing the paddy competitively.
The investors are expected to visit many rice farms while in the state. From Duse, Awal Muhammad Kazauri, NTA News.
Oyo State College of Nursing and Midwifery embarks on free medical outreach. Kemi is standing by in Ibadan for details of this and other stories making the rounds in that zone. Hello, Kemi.
Hello, Ogwa, and a warm welcome to Ibadan. To put the evolution of television broadcast in proper perspective, as well as to celebrate its historic takeoff in Ibadan, members of the First TV in Africa Alumni Association paid a courtesy call on Governor Abiola Ajimobi to solicit support towards the 60th anniversary of television in Africa later this year. Ayomiko Ajibola has the report.
On October 31st this year, television broadcast in Africa will be 60 years old, dating back to the official commissioning of the Western Nigerian Television, WNTV, Ibadan, by the then Premier of Western Nigerian, Chief Obafemi Awolowo.
NTA came into existence in 1976. First in Africa came into existence in 1959, 27 years before NTA.
While assuring them of his support, Governor Abiola Ajimobi urged the veterans to use their wealth of experience to curb the excess of the use of social media on dissemination of information.
We are the pace setter in enlightenment and information. Be the pace setter in ensuring that our value system is not eroded with this social media.
Television veteran also appreciated Oyo State Governor Abiola Ajimobi, who they say has done well in terms of infrastructural development in the state in the last 7.5 years. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
Media practitioners have been urged to regularly find time out of their busy schedule to check on their health status. This is to ensure a healthy lifestyle. This came to fore as all students of Oyo State College of Nursing and Midwifery, Ibadan, organized a medical outreach for members of the public and staff of NTA Ibadan Network Center to mark the 70th anniversary of the institution. Rofia Animashan Badmus reports.
As part of efforts to ensure healthy society, team of nurses from the Oyo State College of Nursing and Midwifery Ibadan took the outreach to people at the grassroots who may not have easier access to health care.
It's a very good step, taking care of people in the environment. We don't talk about those to hospitals. We just believe having medical checkup would be the best thing.
I benefited from it in the sense that I was treated and I was given the drugs to what I needed.
The team also extended the gesture to NTA Ibadan so as to encourage media practitioners to take out time to check their health status.
We even see from the part of the talk that we were given that even working on the computer, straining your eye, putting your eye on the screen for so long has its own negative effect.
The medical outreach was organized by old students of the Oyo State College of Nursing and Midwifery in Ibadan. Bofia Animashan Badmos, NTA News.
An INEC resident electoral commissioner in Oyo State, Mutiu Agboke, and the Director of National Orientation Agency, Dolapo Dosumu, have been commended for their positive roles before, during, and after the just concluded general elections. Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, Oyo State Chapter, gave the commendation. Correspondent Shola Wahid has that report.
The chairperson of Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, NAWOJ, Oyo State Chapter, Jadisola Ajibola, said the reason for awarding Certificate of Excellence to the state's resident electoral commissioner, Barrister Mutiu Agboke, and Director, National Orientation Agency, Dolapo Dosumu, is because of their outstanding and exemplary performances in the recently concluded general elections.
Here, a lot of people have been commenting on what the commission had done, and we said, look, let's commend the leadership of INEC.
That can only happen because they followed us, they observed us, they were part and parcel of what we are doing, and they were convinced that we had nothing to hide.
When you are doing something that you don't even know you are doing well, and somebody outside there is watching, and to the point of being publicly recognized, it will only motivate me to do more.
For both of them, I want to appreciate them, and God will continue to give them more wisdom, more knowledge and understanding for them to continue to excel.
They are of the views that people should be recognized and awarded for their positive roles in the society to enhance efficiency and productivity. In Ibadan, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. It's back to Ogwa in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Many thanks, Kemi. The Cardinal John Onaikan Foundation for Peace is living up to its mandate of enhancing inter-ethnic and inter-religious cooperation in the country. This has again been demonstrated by the graduation of the foundation's Pioneer Peace Fellows in Abuja. Victor Azu reports.
These are peace ambassadors of the Cardinal Onaikan Foundation for Peace, a status they attained upon completion of a one-year program in interreligious dialogue and mediation.
I would like to...
These men and women, 35 of them from different ethnic and religious backgrounds, are volunteers who seek to contribute in building peace and stability across the country.
We felt as religious leaders we have to open up, we have to come forward and contribute and then douse the tension that has been building over a recent period of time.
I entered into this program to enable me also know how to settle some of the conflicts we are having over there in my own town.
As he takes his stand to address the peace ambassadors, Chairman of the foundation, John Cardinal Onaikan, gives them a sense of direction for the task ahead.
Don't ask, who are we? You are peace builders. Don't ask, what can we do? You can do a lot. Don't forget that those who are fomenting problems, confusion, and violence in our nation are very few. They are only well organized.
It remains our priority to join forces with other actors to strategically increase citizen participation, strengthen community resilience, and create peace narratives against hate speech.
The certificate program is organized by the Cardinal Onaikan Foundation for Peace in conjunction with Veritas University, Abuja. Victor Azu, NTA News.
Sokoto State Government receives 2018 Hajj report with a pledge to improve performance. Let's get details of this and other reports as we join Asmau in Sokoto.
Thank you, Ogwa. Welcome to Sokoto. As part of efforts to review the violence that characterized the 2019 general elections, National Orientation Agency organized a sensitization campaign on curbing post-election violence, promoting discipline, unity, and patriotism. Sheikh Muhammad Datti has more on the story.
The sensitization campaign brought together relevant stakeholders in the election process, traditional institutions, parents, and civil society organizations. The campaign is tagged Building a People of Peace, with a view to restoring peace and harmony in the country. The primary objective is to avert the possibility of new internal crises among community members, increase awareness on the need for peace by seeking for the support of traditional rulers, religious leaders, government, and members of the public. The forum also emphasized for peace building, reconciliation, and forgiveness among all and sundry, irrespective of party or religious affiliations.
We are not taking the peace that we have on the ground for granted. We know that for peace to be sustained, you need to work on it. You need to keep talking to people. You need to keep assuaging passions and feelings that may arise from different quarters. And then to point people to the constitutional ways of seeking redress if there's a feeling of dissatisfaction.
Chairman of the occasion, Muhammad Bello Nagwari, emphasized that peace and patriotism enhances relationship and togetherness, stressing the need for traditional rulers' role in peace and harmony. Stakeholders at the event were emphatic on the need for mutual understanding of individual differences, pointing out that post-election violence only leads to destruction of lives and property. Politicians were reminded that in every contest, there must be a winner and a loser, hence the need for all parties to accept outcomes in good faith. Ms. Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
Sokoto State Government has been advised to insist on the use of high-capacity aircraft in the annual aircraft of intending pilgrims to Saudi Arabia for the Hajj exercise. This advice was contained in the 2018 Hajj report submitted to Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal. Lalata Abdullahi reports.
Presenting the report to the governor, the chairman 2018 State Hajj delegation and the secretary to Sokoto State Government, Professor Bashar Garba, described the operation as the most successful compared to previous ones. He stated that all the 2,923 pilgrims from the state performed the 2018 Hajj without any misconduct and returned home safely.
All stakeholders have played significant roles in the conduct of 2018 Hajj operation. This has also contributed immensely in the success we recorded, as there was no any misconduct on the side of our pilgrims.
The report, however, recommended for provision of quality accommodation close to Harami, adequate vehicles to ease movement of pilgrims, use of high-capacity aircraft, and the provision of local food preferred by the pilgrims. Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal said officials of the State Pilgrims Welfare Agency are already in Saudi Arabia for pre-2019 Hajj visit.
We commend you and commend members of the staff of Pilgrims Welfare Agency for working with you without hitches and collaborating with you for a very successful 2018 Hajj.
The report, he said, will be carefully studied to serve as the basis for improving subsequent Hajj operations. In Sokoto, Lalata Abdullahi, NTA News.
That's all from Sokoto. Let's now go back to Ogwa in Abuja. Good evening.
Thank you, Asmau. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is perfecting plans to consolidate on the successes recorded in the 2018 flood intervention. A 5-day capacity training for its staff, as well as those in SEMA, has taken place in conjunction with USAID and U.S. Department of Agri and Forest Services. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu reports that this is in preparation for immediate response ahead of 2019 flood intervention.
The 2018 flood may have recorded adverse effects on human lives and property. The immediate response by NEMA in stemming the effects was commendable by donor agencies and other stakeholders. This was achieved not without deliberate effort by NEMA in building capacities of its staff. This training is to further consolidate on the success and intensify efforts in the 2019 flood intervention.
This training is what is called just in time.
It's a training that would help to enhance and take disaster management in Nigeria to the next level.
Really appreciate. It is very interesting.
Director General of NEMA Mustafa Mehajja said the agency will continue to collaborate with relevant agencies in making 2019 flood intervention more effective.
This is a clear indication of our commitment to disaster response.
Kind of quick foundation that we could help build or help NEMA and SEMA to work on these floods and to try to coordinate more effectively while we're facing this disaster in front of us.
Certificate of participation were presented to the trainees at the end of the program. In Abuja, Ilyasu Aliakubu, NTA News.
Another break beckons. Stay with us as Nationwide returns shortly.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA. Get the latest news and updates from across Nigeria on NTA Nationwide. NTA Nationwide, weekdays by 4 p.m. Get it first, get it fresh.
Welcome back. The successful re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari by Nigerians has been described as a testimony of good work and integrity, rekindling hope in the nation's economy. President of the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria Alumni Association, Professor Ahmed Tijani Mora, stated this while on a courtesy visit to the Secretary of the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, in Abuja. Ahmed Ondas Ahmed reports.
The journey to 2019 presidential poll victory by the ruling party, All Progressive Congress, was as a result of the stellar track records of President Muhammadu Buhari in the areas of security, the anti-corruption fight, and economic recovery. These qualities made Nigerians to renew the mandate to enable him consolidate on his vision for the nation in the next 4 years.
On behalf of the over 800,000 members of the ABU Alumni Association in Nigeria and in the diaspora, let me congratulate the SGF for this victory. As the engine room of the administration,
Mustafa went down memory lane, recalling on the days ABU Zaria was not just a center of academic excellence, but a mini Nigeria where students from all walks of life coexist and learn in unity.
I had the privilege of being in ABU between 76 and 79. I graduated from the Faculty of Law in 1979. At that time, ABU, by all imagination, was a great university. It was a great university. You announced your arrival at any given opportunity with a sense of dignity and pride.
Ahmed Ondas Ahmed, NTA News.
And now sports update with Tamara Ebiwi.